David was only 9 when his mother died. He was very intelligent and smart. He lived with his father, Mr. Harris, in a small mud house on the edge of town. Life was hard, but they had each other. But when his father fell sick, everything changed. David had to drop out of school and they both had to live on the street. David had to sell robbers to take care of his dad, but one day everything changed. He met the son of a billionaire, Daniel, who has everything in life, studying in the best school of the state but yet still finds it hard to learn. It was David, the boy from the mud, that became his anonymous teacher, but when Daniel's mother, the powerful billionaire, met David teaching her son, what she did next will leave you shocked, so grab a chair and sit tight to witness this powerful story to where it leads. Mr. Harris worked as a security guard, earning little, but enough to keep his son in a public school. David loved books more than food. His teachers always said, "This boy is special. His mind is sharper than gold." In their mud house, David would light a small kerosene lamp at night and solve mathematics on scraps of paper. One day, "I'll be a great man," he told his father. His father would smile, tired but hopeful, "and I'll live to see it." They both held on to that dream. But life has a way of testing the strongest hearts. Mr. Harris just came back to his mud house after a long day at work. It all started with a little dizziness, but he suddenly dived into sickness. At first, it was coughs and fever. Then, he grew weaker and weaker. Soon, Mr. Harris could not work anymore. The small money he earned before stopped coming. He became unable to pay rent. One evening, as David and his father sat inside their small mud house, the landlord came in and shouted out, "You can't live here for free." David pleaded that his father is very sick and is unable to work. He begged the landlord that he would work very hard to pay the rent, but the landlord did not listen to his pleadings. He told both of them to pack their belongings and get out of his house, and so, father and son carried their little belongings into the street. From that day, David's classroom was gone. His school uniform grew old, his books disappeared, and survival became his only subject. With no mother, a sick father, and no home, David's childhood vanished too quickly. But his dream to learn never left him. They were pushed out of the tiny home they'd lived in for years. The streets of Lagos became their new home. The streets, though, were no place for a sick man and a young boy. David and his father moved into a small corner near the local market. The busy streets around them were loud, filled with the sound of people selling goods, honking cars, and chatter from all directions. It was overwhelming. They had nothing, no food, no shelter. David had to work even harder, selling water bottles and anything he could to earn a few naira. He wasn't going to give up. He couldn't. His father needed him. But as hard as he worked, there was never enough money to buy food. David didn't know what to do. He couldn't go back to school because he couldn't afford the fees. So, he spent his days doing whatever he could to survive, but there was always a pit of emptiness in his stomach. His father's health continued to decline, and David couldn't help but feel the weight of it all. He was just a young boy. What could he do? The streets were harsh, and people treated him like he was invisible. No one cared about a young boy hustling to survive. But David had learned to ignore the stares. All that mattered was getting food for his father and keeping them alive. David woke up early every day and went straight to the nearest school. He would stand outside the gates, watching the other children walk in with their backpacks, their uniforms clean and neat. David would always ask the same question, "Can I come to school?" Every time, he was told the same thing, "No money, no school." It was the same story at every school he visited. He went to a lot of different schools, all of them rejecting him because he had no money. Each time, he would walk away, his heart sinking deeper into his chest. His father's condition kept getting worse, and David's dreams of going to school seemed more and more impossible. He would walk through the crowded streets, his head low, feeling the weight of failure. But he never gave up. Every time he was turned away, he would try again. "One day, someone will let me in," he told himself. "One day, things will change." But as the time went by, he started feeling like a failure. The rejection was hard to take. He could see his friends from the old neighborhood going to school, learning new things, while he had to sell water bottles just to get by. His father, who once worked hard to provide for them, was now just a shadow of himself, unable to do anything. David was the only one holding their world together, and he didn't know how much longer he could keep going. Still, he refused to give up. Whenever he saw children with books, he would stop, peek over their shoulders, and try to solve their homework in his head. He remained hungry for knowledge even when his stomach was empty of food. At night, by his father's side, he prayed silently. His father coughed painfully, whispering, "Son, I'm sorry." David shook his head, holding his father's hand. "Don't say sorry, Dad. I'll make it one day." The city moved on, ignoring the small boy on the street. But destiny was watching. David's life was a cycle of rejection. Every day, he would wake up early, carry small bag, and walk to a different waste bins to pack empty water bottle and aluminum scraps, so he could sell them to buy food and medicine for his father. His father was too weak to move, and David knew he couldn't rely on anyone else for help. He had no choice but to keep trying, even when it felt like the whole world was against him. Every day people saw him in the waste bins packing empty water bottles. They would look at him in disdain, some would hiss, so would close their nose with their hands, and some will look at him with pity. But being an intelligent boy, he never worried about what others think of him because he wasn't competing with anybody. He never gave up on going to school. After packing the water bottles from the scraps, he would sell it and he would be given some coins that can't even feed a goat, but he always takes it with a smile and the hope that things will get better. After selling, he would look for another school nearby to try his luck. The schools were full of children who came from families with money, children whose lives seemed so far away from David's own. He would stand outside the gates, watching them laugh and play, wishing he could be part of that world. But the security guards and teachers would shake their heads when they saw him approach. He wasn't allowed in. His clothes were ragged, his shoes barely held together, and there was no way for him to pay for the school fees. They all rejected him without a second thought. As the days went by, David's optimism began to fade. Each rejection was like a blow to his spirit. But he couldn't stop. He couldn't give up, not when his father needed him. So he continued, visiting school after school, hoping for someone to have mercy on him, to see past his circumstances. But the answer was always the same: go home. But David had no home. Meanwhile, the people on the street were becoming more hostile. Close to the market, the neighbors would throw looks of disdain when they saw them. "Look at them, always begging," one of them would say. "They'll never make it. Just look at them." The whispers and the cold stares were painful, but David tried not to let it show. He would force a smile and keep his head high, even as the weight of rejection pressed down on him. The bottles he sold didn't sell well. The money he earned wasn't enough to buy anything for himself or his sick father. Every day, he watched his father grow weaker, his body wasting away from the sickness. But David didn't give up. He kept hustling, kept trying, kept believing that something would change. One day, after selling water bottles packed from scraps outside a school, he tried sneaking into the school, but he was caught by the security officer that is in charge of the school's security activities. "What's your game, kid?" said the security officer. "Sneaking into a place like this? You think you're clever? This isn't some playground, it's a serious institution. You could get hurt or cause trouble. Don't just stand there looking like a thief, talk. You shouldn't be here. You know that, right? Do you know how much you would pay to get in this kind of school? This is not your type of school. Who are you with? Where do you live?" "I am with no one," David replied. "I just want to go to school, please." But the man looked at him in disdain. "You're still trying to get into school, huh?" he said, his voice filled with mockery. "Why bother? You'll never make it." David swallowed his pride and nodded, clutching his pack of water bottles. The man told him to go away, leaving David standing on the road, feeling smaller than ever. It seemed like the whole world was against him. But David wouldn't let it break him. He couldn't. His father needed him. After months of rejection, David felt like the weight of the world was closing in on him. His father's condition worsened, and they were barely scraping by. One hot afternoon, David balanced a tray of bottled water on his head. His feet were bare, burning on the tarred road. He stood near the gate of a private international school. The buildings inside were tall, painted white, and shone like palaces. He had never seen so much beauty in one place. That was when he noticed a boy, about his age, sitting by the gate. The boy wore polished shoes, a neat uniform, and held a notebook. He frowned at his mathematics homework, tapping his pencil angrily. David stopped, watching. Numbers were his best friend. He leaned closer and said softly, "You're putting the wrong formula. Try this instead." The boy looked up, surprised. "Who are you?" "Just someone who likes maths," David replied shyly. The boy hesitated, then passed the book. "Show me." In minutes, David explained step by step, his voice calm, his hand pointing at the numbers. The rich boy's eyes widened as the answer appeared. "Wow, you're smarter than my teacher," he said. David laughed quietly. For the first time, he felt useful again. The boy introduced himself. "My name is Daniel." David replied, "I'm David." That afternoon was the beginning of something that would change their lives forever. From that day, Daniel and David met often. Each time school ended, Daniel waited by the gate. David, with his tray of bottled water, would arrive. Together, they bent over notebooks. David explained, Daniel listened. Soon, Daniel's grades improved. He began answering questions in class with confidence. His teachers praised him. His classmates were shocked. "Daniel, when did you become so smart?" they whispered. Daniel only smiled, but deep inside, he knew it was because of the boy outside the gate. Sometimes, Daniel would sneak bread or biscuits from his lunchbox and share with David. At first, David refused, ashamed. But Daniel insisted, "You taught me. Let me thank you." They laughed like brothers, though one wore polished shoes and the other wore none. David's father grew weaker each day, but whenever David returned from teaching Daniel, he whispered, "Dad, I'm still learning." His father smiled faintly, "I knew you would never stop." Their friendship was real, but it was a secret. Daniel's mother, the billionaire lady, knew nothing. She believed her son was finally taking school seriously. But soon, the secret would come into the light. One afternoon, Daniel told David, "I want to see where you live." David's heart jumped. "No, you can't. It's not a place for you." But Daniel insisted. That evening, Daniel returned with his bodyguard, carrying his notebook. He followed David through the crowded streets until they reached the corner where David and his father stayed. The street, the thin mat, the sick man coughing, it was all too clear. Daniel sat beside David on the floor, unbothered by the dirt. "So this is where you live?" David nodded, ashamed. "And your father?" he asked. David explained softly, "He's sick. I sell water bottle from scraps to feed him. That's why I left school." The bodyguard watched silently. For Daniel, this was not poverty, it was strength. He looked at his friend and said, "You're the reason I'm better in class. You're a genius, David." After a few minutes, the bodyguard received a call. It was Daniel's mother, furious because she couldn't find her son. She demanded to know his location. The bodyguard told the truth. Minutes later, a black SUV stopped nearby. And out stepped the billionaire mother herself. Mrs. Evelyn Carter was a powerful woman, known across the city. She stepped out in heels, her elegant gown glowing even in the dusty street. Her eyes widened when she saw her son sitting on the bare ground beside a poor barefoot boy. "Daniel," she shouted. "What are you doing here?" Daniel stood quickly. "Mom, wait. Let me explain." She turned to David, her face sharp. "Who is this boy?" David trembled, hiding his face. I sell water, Ma." He tried to run, but Daniel held him. "Don't go, David." Mrs. Carter frowned. "Daniel, why are you with a street boy?" Daniel's voice shook but was firm. "Because he's my teacher. He's the one who helps me with maths. He's the reason I'm doing well in school." Silence fell. Mrs. Carter looked at David again, this time with curious eyes. "Is this true?" David nodded, whispering, "Yes, Ma." For the first time, Evelyn Carter had no words. She had built companies, controlled men, and faced boardrooms. But here was a poor child, barefoot, who had achieved what expensive teachers could not. Her heart froze, not in anger but in shock. Mrs. Carter asked slowly, "Where are your parents?" David swallowed hard. My mom is dead. My father is sick. He can't work anymore. That's why we live on the street. Tears stung Daniel's eyes. Mom, please, he needs help. He's not just smart, he's the reason I've changed. Please listen to him. Mrs. Carter studied the boy's thin frame, his tired eyes, his dirty clothes. Something inside her shifted. She asked to see the father. Inside the small corner, she met Mr. Harris, coughing weakly. He tried to stand but nearly fell. Evelyn helped him sit. Sir, I'm Evelyn Carter. I'm sorry for intruding. Tell me, is what your son said true? Mr. Harris nodded slowly. David is my only son. He's gifted. He's suffered because of me. But I believe God has a plan for him. The powerful woman who had never cried in public felt her chest tighten. She looked at David and whispered, no child with such a mind should suffer like this. That night, Evelyn couldn't sleep. Her son's words echoed. The poor boy's eyes haunted her. By morning, she had decided. She came back to street. David was surprised when he saw them again. He greeted them. Without hesitation, Mrs. Evelyn sent her security officers to pick up Mr. Harris and take him to her doctors to treat him at a private hospital. David was still in shock of what was going on. He couldn't believe his eyes. His father was going to be healthy again. He knelt down and thanked Mrs. Evelyn. Mrs. Evelyn told him that she was going to take him in as her own son and give him a better life he craved for. That evening they got to Mrs. Evelyn mansion. David entered Evelyn's mansion for the first time. His eyes widened at the marble floors, golden curtains, and sparkling chandeliers. He touched everything carefully, as if it would disappear. A place he never dreamt of stepping into, in his entire life. His life just changed from living in the street to stepping into a mansion. Mrs. Evelyn told her maids to bath David, gave him new clothes, and fed him a meal that made him cry. Eat, my child, she said gently. Daniel clapped happily. Now you look like me. David whispered, thank you, Ma. Nobody has ever. He broke down, tears falling freely. Evelyn hugged him. From today, you are not just a boy from the street. You are mine. Daniel ran up the stairs, shouting, come on, David. This is your room too. David gasped when he saw the bed, soft, clean, with pillows. He sat down, his eyes wet. Evelyn smiled, watching. From now on, you are my son. You'll go to the same school as Daniel. Both of you will be brothers. David bowed his head, whispering, I'll never forget this, Ma. She began paperwork immediately. She would adopt David. The next week, David entered the private school in uniform, his shoes shining. Whispers followed him. Isn't that the street boy? How did he get here? Daniel walked proudly beside him. He's my brother now. Treat him with respect. He started going to a new school, one that was nothing like the schools he had attended before. The classrooms were bright, the teachers were encouraging, and the students were kind. He wasn't treated like an outsider anymore. He was treated like a valued member of the school, and he excelled in his studies, just like he had always done. But now, his dreams didn't just seem like distant fantasies. They felt like real possibilities. Every day, after school, he would go home to Evelyn's mansion, where he was greeted with love and care. Daniel, his new brother, would sit with him and study together, and they would share stories about their day. David learned so much from Daniel. Not just about school, but about what it meant to have a family, to have people who cared for him. At home, he would spend time with Evelyn, who would ask him about his day and encourage him to keep pushing forward. You're going to do great things, David, she would tell him. You've always had the potential. Now you have the support you need to reach your dreams. David was filled with a sense of purpose. For the first time, he felt like he could be whoever he wanted to be. He could be the person who changed the world, the person who made a difference. And it wasn't just because of the education or the opportunities he had now, it was because he had the love and support of a family behind him. He had everything he needed to succeed, and he wasn't going to waste it. In class, David amazed everyone with his intelligence. Teachers asked, "Where did you learn all this?" He only smiled. Daniel grinned proudly. "I told you, he's a genius." The two boys became inseparable. Daniel shared his lunch, David shared his knowledge. They studied late at night, helping each other. For the first time, David felt like he belonged. But not everyone was happy. Some parents whispered, "Why is Evelyn Carter letting a street boy sit beside our children?" Some children mocked David, calling him beggar boy. David ignored them, focusing on his books. But one day, a boy mocked his dead mother, and David's fists clenched. Before he could fight, Daniel stood up. "Don't ever insult my brother again." From that day, no one dared mock him again. Evelyn saw all this quietly. She was proud of both boys. One evening, Evelyn took David to the hospital. His father was better now, lying on the bed. David held his hand tightly. Mr. Harris smiled faintly. "My son, I'm proud of you. You never gave up." David smiled and said, "Dad, that means everything coming from you. I'm just glad I could make you proud. You've always been my rock, my biggest supporter. I wouldn't be here without you. I'm so grateful for your support. And love you so much. Getting to see you smile like this, it's the best medicine for me too." Evelyn Carter loved David like her own blood. She took him shopping along with David's father, to school events, and introduced him proudly to her friends. Some judged her, but she said boldly, "This boy is mine. Love him or leave." David worked hard, studying late into the night. Teachers praised him. He began winning awards, lifting the school's name high. Daniel was proud. "That's my brother." In public, they stood side by side, one once rich, one once poor. Now both equal. Soon, the city began to talk. Newspapers wrote, "Billionaire adopts street boy, calls him son." Some people mocked Evelyn. Others praised her. David didn't care. All he cared about was making his father proud and honoring his new mother's love. Years passed, and David grew stronger, smarter, and more confident. He finished school at the top of his class, went on to university, and eventually became a successful entrepreneur, all the while remembering where he came from. He never forgot the struggles of his past, and it was those struggles that fueled his desire to make a difference in the world. Daniel, his best friend and brother, was by his side every step of the way. They supported each other through the ups and downs, always encouraging each other to keep pushing forward. They had become more than just friends, they had become brothers in every sense of the word. One day, as they sat together in their office, David looked out of the window at the city, which had once seemed so far out of reach. The sun was setting, casting a warm golden glow over everything, and David felt a sense of peace he hadn't known before. "Look at us, Daniel," David said, a smile tugging at his lips. "We've come so far. I never imagined I would be here, doing what I love, with the people I care about." Daniel smiled back at him. "I knew you could do it, David. You've always had it in you. And now, you've proven to the world that anything is possible." David nodded, his heart full. He had everything he had ever dreamed of. He had a family, a successful career, and the freedom to live the life he wanted. But more than anything, he had learned the greatest lesson of all, that no matter where you come from, if you believe in yourself and never give up, you can achieve anything. And that was the truth that would guide him for the rest of his life. If you are hearing this, that means you stayed till the end of this story. May God bless you abundantly and grant you all your good secret heart desires. Thank you so much for watching to the end. And never forget to keep on pushing your dreams, stay consistent and work hard. A day will come when your consistency will pay. Would you do what Evelyn Carter did? Would you take in a child not your own? Watch till the end and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more life-changing story.